Hello, everybody. This is Drew Thomas here, and I can't believe I'm about to do this. So, first of all, I'm going to say if you like the show, that's okay. I'm glad you can enjoy this version of Thomas when I definitely cannot. But I'm happy that y'all like this version of Thomas. But me, on the other hand, oops, sorry. I do not like this Thomas at all. Anyway, what kind of version of Thomas is this? This is called Thomas and Friends All Engines Go. This is a spin-off to Thomas and Friends, and apparently they're just not making any more regular Thomas and Friends episodes and just making this season 5 and season 6 and 7 and 8. Or season 25, I mean, sorry. Season 25, 26, 27, and 28. Because so far we have 3 seasons, and I believe we got renewed for a 5th season. There should be at least 5 seasons. I mean, it shouldn't last as long as The Simpsons, I hope. Anyway, let's just get the good parts out of the way. It's nice that they are marketing this more towards people with the autism spectrum because I have a character named Bruno the brake van who has autism, and just like me back when I was a kid, he would flap his stare things, and he also was sensitive to loud noises. He didn't like being surprised. So one way that my mom broke me out of this was she would pretty much take me to the websites to show me what I was in for. That's how I got into Six Flags, actually. And I still do that tradition to this day where before I visit somewhere, I look at images, videos, and pictures, and I pretty much get myself excited. I also look at the website and stuff so I can make sure I'm ready for this. Anyway, so another thing I like is how they had Neil Crone return as Gordon, and Eddie Glynn voices Toby, which Eddie Glynn was the voice of Thomas from Thomas and the Magic Railroad, and Neil Crone voiced Gordon in Diesel 10 and either Splatter or Dodge in Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Okay, now that the good's out of the way, let's get on with the ranting. Okay, here we go. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? I don't blame the people. I don't blame the writers because they're on the autism spectrum. They're doing this because they're required to, and they're doing that stuff. But still, why did Mattel greenlight this trash? Why did Mattel even bother to let this even be made? Like, why? Why Mattel? They mainly did this because Paw Patrol was popular, and so they wanted to be like Paw Patrol, where they had the engines become children, sort of like Camp Coral from SpongeBob. Engines are not supposed to be children. I mean, for goodness sakes, it makes no sense. Come to think of it, the whole universe itself doesn't make sense, but that's not the point. This is just weird. Why do they have them portrayed as children? Like, honestly, when I first heard about this, I was a little concerned. And I was rightfully concerned, but I was like, okay, maybe at least they'll have or maybe they'll at least keep Joseph May. Nope! They got rid of all the voice actors, hired new ones, which are children. Do they even get paid? Please tell me they get paid. If these children are being paid, this is child labor. And, I mean, this is no stranger to Mattel with their factories and stuff. Why do they make this? Why? The engines bounce around. I mean, they were bouncing around since Journey Beyond Sodor, but it got a far more worse. Now they can squish and squash. They use their wheels as arms and legs, despite saying that they weren't going to do that. They freaking lied. Because they are pulling switches, and Thomas is literally. There's a clip where Thomas is doing some sort of pose with his wheels. For goodness sakes. Engines don't need turntables. They don't need drivers. Yes, they do. This ain't Chuggington, kiddo. For goodness sakes. There's already a series like this, and it's Chuggington, which doesn't have drivers. And at least the engines don't squish and squash, but they still jump from rail to rail. But still, this is not the Thomas I grew up with. This is not my Thomas. And if people have a problem with what I have to say about this, click unsubscribe. Stop watching my channel because I will not be tolerating All Engines Go fanboys. Masturbate to All Engines Go all you want. I am not joining you guys. This version of Thomas has got to go, in my opinion. We need to just bring the old Thomas back. Because, I mean, the old Thomas had charm. The old Thomas still felt great. Why turn him into a child and completely retcon everything? Why are other people pulling Annie and Clarabelle? So Matt gave Thomas those coaches specifically to him. I mean, yes, occasionally when Thomas was off his branch line, other engines would pull his coaches, but still. For goodness sakes, why is Annie and Clarabelle being used for mainline service? They are supposed to be used for Thomas's branch line, but they just got rid of Thomas's branch line because, I guess, because, you know, they weren't going to even have the engines pull trains all that much. Plus, the wheels don't even have connecting rods or piston cylinders. How are they rolling? This is pretty much just Disney Pixar cars, but with trains. And don't even get me started on the merchandising. The merchandising is garbage. For goodness sakes, it's just... Most of the sets are just, you know, gimmicky Hot Wheel-like sets. Sort of like the knockoff Thomas sets. I mean, they've been like that for a while, but still, it got far worse with All Engines Go. Especially because these pieces of crap are the designs. They completely ditched all the Steam team, and they just referred to Edward and Henry as those trains. Those trains? They are engines. And don't even get me started on Diesel, because Diesel was made to be like this antagonist, but they sort of got rid of that for, you know, Bubba. Then for All Engines Go, they just brought it back. I mean, this is a separate series. This is not the Toms and Friends I grew up with. And if they claim that this is the series today, I will find whoever said that and give them a good old talking to in my study. Some people say, let it go, Drew. This is the Thomas. This is the one we grew up with. No, I refuse to accept that. Either they bring back the old Thomas for the movie, or I'm not going to see it. If they're making a Thomas movie, they had better make it based upon the classic Thomas. The Thomas that actually looks like Thomas. And not this garbage. This is not Thomas. This is a knockoff. A ripoff. Made by the company that owns Thomas. Mattel needs to sell off Thomas and Friends to like Paramount Pictures or whatever, because at least they would actually listen to the fans. Disney, they probably wouldn't do much with Thomas. They probably just ruin it altogether. Hasbro, they're not even making movies based on their toy products. So, looks like our only options are Paramount or maybe some other toy company or maybe some other film studio. I highly doubt DreamWorks is going to take it. I highly doubt any other company is going to take it. So I think it looks like Paramount might be the way to go. Honestly, Paramount would have done better with Thomas. I mean, yes, no studio's perfect. I understand that very much. But Mattel was not in the right place when they were making this. Why? Who gave them this idea? Why did they think this was a great idea? Why did they make this series altogether? I really did not want this. I wanted the old Thomas. The one that I grew up with. The one that I would go to bed with whenever I would sleep in the dark. The one thing that brought me comfort anytime my stupid biological father abused me. He tried to get me out of Thomas, but he failed miserably because nothing's going to get me to stop liking Thomas, because Thomas is my hero, and he will forever be my hero. But this Thomas is not my hero. This is an imposter to the real Thomas. This is a slap in the face to the Reverend Audrey, and a slap to the face to Britt Allcroft, a slap in the face to everyone. Everyone's just getting slapped, and they're just dancing on the Reverend Audrey's grave. And he's just rolling and spinning because of how much rubbish they're making. The Reverend Audrey would not approve of this. He wouldn't have even approved of Magic Road, but I still like Magic Road because at least that keeps the charm. At least it still has Thomas and his friends being useful, pulling trains and stuff like this. This just mostly have the engines playing around and taking ridiculous cargo. For goodness sakes. Not to mention they're just making stereotypes. Thomas is always a kid. Percy's always a kid. Diesel's just like Pete from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. He's friendly, but he just gets in the way. Kana, who the hell is Kana? And Nia, I mean, at least Nia had a pretty nice story arc, but this doesn't make sense. Why are they children? This is like Thomas's offspring. Like, he went to Nia, and a bunch of Avengers just had a train orgy, and they gave birth to these abominations. This is not Thomas. And I refuse to accept this as Thomas. If people are commentating on this, stop recording right now, because I'm making my point across. Your opinions are valid. You can like the show, but I will not tolerate fanboys who are overly defensive over this garbage. This is not Thomas the freaking Tank Engine. And I refuse to accept that. Well, folks, definitely tore right into this. That's all I have to say about All Engines Go. It needs to All Engines go the frick away. At least it's no longer airing on television. It's just been confined to airing only on Netflix, which is probably going to destroy the Thomas franchise altogether. Well, whoever gave this idea to All Engines Go, I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy. Because you have successfully killed Thomas. And you're just beating him despite him being dead. You're just beating a dead horse. Like and subscribe to my channel for better Thomas content, not this shit. Please bear with my opinion, folks. I know I sounded a bit rude, but please bear with me. This is Drew Thomas signing off. Good night, and this show blows.